Okay, so our next guest led the nation in scoring for Michigan, 65 points in 36 games, a Frozen Four appearance, wins the Hobey Baker Award. And Russo, I don't ordinarily say this when we're going to start an interview, but we have a very limited amount of time with him because he's got to get to class. But that's what happens when you interview someone who is still in school. Adam Fantilli joining us on the Athletic Podcast. Congrats on a fantastic season. Thanks so much for doing this.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me on.
So I know it just ended. The season just wrapped up. I listed a bunch of stuff that went really, really well for you, but have you had time to kind of put it into perspective, what's gone on over the last season, and forget looking forward for now, just what happened with Michigan this year, the run, your awards, your success. Have you had a chance to really put it into perspective?
I mean, a little bit. The last couple of days have been a bit of a whirlwind. The team's just been kind of hanging out together, and I've had to talk to a few people, and just being around my family and stuff like that. It's had a little bit of a second to sink in, but the whole season's been a bit of a surreal experience. It's been amazing. This place is so special.
What class are you going to, by the way?
I got a public speaking class.
So are you going to be giving a speech? I mean, how much will this help you in doing interviews down the road and things like that?
Oh, I mean, it's actually unreal. She helped me. She took a look at the Hobey Baker speech to take a look at make sure it was all good. The formatting was right. There's actually quite a bit of things in there that help out with stuff like this. It's really good.
We should get our producer to send this interview to your teacher just to break down how you did on this one, if it's actually working. Because Russo's right. I mean, that's going to help you throughout your career, right?
Exactly. Maybe I'll get some extra credit for that. That'd be good.
What was that whole experience like? I mean, to go from obviously, Adam, the disappointment of losing to Quinnipiac, and then, sticking around for the Hobey Baker, you're sitting between two Gophers. What was that last couple days like for you? And, did it at least leave you with that gratifying feeling, or was it still very tough?
Yeah. I mean, obviously losing in the semis of the Frozen Four is gut wrenching. I mean, we got so many amazing seniors and guys that won't be coming back next year that I wish we were able to do more for those guys. But after that night, we just kind of wanted to celebrate the season that we had. We got a lot done, more than quite a bit of people thought we would have been able to accomplish. So we were all proud of ourselves, and I was really happy the whole team was able to stick around for the ceremony the next night. That meant a lot to me.
You look at a season like this, and Adam, I'm an older brother. I'm the oldest of three. And, you love your brothers, but you want to, slit their throats sometimes with the fights you have.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to share this whole season with your brother, Luca. What was it like, being not only a teammate, but a roommate, and having your brother around for such a great season?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was our fourth year running. We live in the same dorm room. We do everything together. I mean, he's my best friend. I love being around him. I think just about anybody you ask will say they love being around him. He's such a likable kid. He's such a social butterfly, and he's always bouncing around, meeting new people and stuff like that. So he's a good guy to know. He's a good guy to be around. But yeah, it's our fourth year doing it. I couldn't ask for anything more. I mean, not many people are fortunate enough to do the things that we've been able to accomplish together, and the Clark Cup, the Big Ten championship, and so many things in between. So being able to experience all of that together has been amazing. It means the world to me.
Adam, I got some questions on Twitter that wanted to actually kind of go back to the decision to go to the USHL for the Clark Cup and Michigan. What led you to come down here as opposed to maybe staying up in Canada where you were drafted in the OHL?
Yeah. Well, first off, my first year in juniors was COVID, so the OHL didn't even play. I am also decent. I'm pretty close with Owen Power and Brendan Brisson, and both of those guys played at the Steel, and they talked to me about the development model, how good it is there, how much they just try and pump out hockey players. It's a hockey factory over there. So I went over there for my 1 year. That was COVID. Loved it, and I wanted to stay another year as opposed to going to the OHL. It was I can't say enough great things about that place and the way they develop hockey players. It's next level. It's amazing. But in terms of my decision to go to college and not go to the CHL, there's so many reasons for me. I mean, playing with my brother is something that I just said is so special to me and would be to a lot of people. And also I have a late birthday. So I would have been playing in the OHL for 3 years before even being eligible. Playing in the NHL is tough to do at 18. So possibly coming back for a fourth year to and be playing against 2007s at that point, as opposed to playing against 98s, 99s, guys that have been here and guys that are men and are big and fast and strong. So I think it was the right play for my development.
You know, along those lines, Adam, I mean, it really has seemed to change the path to getting to the NHL because, you know, when I was a young kid, NCAA was the consolation prize. You know, you couldn't get yourself into a team in the CHL. All right, let's see if I can get some free education, go to the NCAA. That's not the case anymore. So if you were to have someone who's a young star who's trying to make that decision, CHL or NCAA, and they come to you because you've had the experience, you've been a Michigan Wolverine, you've won the Hobey Baker, what do you say to them? What are some of the positives that maybe Canadian kids don't necessarily see to playing in the NCAA?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing right off the bat is the level of play. It's really good. I mean, some people that might have knocks on the NCAA because they're those older guys and don't have the so-called top end talent that the CHL has. I say, look at the past 3 drafts. I mean, 2015 or no, not 20. What am I saying? 2021 was for the top 5 went to Michigan. I mean, you got like guys like Luke Hughes, you got Nyes, Cooley. All these guys are coming through and making their mark in the NHL. So you can't have a knock on it. And the development that I can only speak for Michigan. I can't speak for other schools, but what they're doing here to develop hockey players and develop you as a man is really, really something special.
Adam, just looking ahead here, obviously this is going to be a whirlwind, next, 2 months for you. Not only in school here, but you got the draft lottery coming up. You got the combine. You got going to the Stanley Cup final, which is always a big thing for top prospects. And then obviously the draft in Nashville. What is this next couple months going to be like? Do you have a pretty good plan here? And what do you plan to be doing on the draft lottery day?
I don't really know. Maybe golfing. I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be a busy summer. I'm really excited for it. It's so many things that I've been looking forward to my whole life. So I'm just going to try and enjoy the ride. It's going to be special.
You know, it's this time of the year, right around draft time, where you hear all the experts because, you know, to be honest, even guys like myself and Russo, we don't necessarily get to watch every Michigan game. And you hear all the time, Adam Fantilli reminds me of a young blank. And that's just guys like us who watch a lot of games. But I want to know your answer to that question. If someone says, Adam Fantilli, you know, who do you model your game after? Who's someone you looked up to and you really try to play like that player? Who would that player be? I stumped him, Russo. I stumped him.
Growing up, well, the reason is because I try to model my game after certain players, but I also realize that the players that are in the NHL are in the NHL and they're there for a reason, and they're there because they're elite at what they do. Growing up, I always loved Patrice Bergeron. I'm a huge Bruins fan. And watching him really got me to pay attention to the 200-foot side of the game and try and take care and like, no, you can produce offense, but you want to be a plus player. You want your plus minus to be as high as possible. You want to be able to take care of business as much as you can at the defensive zone before heading over to the offensive zone and having your fun, right? So I watched him a lot growing up, and I'd say like I try to emulate a bit of Nathan McKinnon in my game as much as I can, but he's Nathan McKinnon. I mean, it's hard to do.
By the way, I'm looking at Twitter here, and I got a tweet that says, tell him he's ready to go pro and doesn't need another year at Michigan. I think this is a big-time Minnesota fan that just wants you to leave. It did feel like another really good Twitter question is it just felt like you guys were a really tight-knit group at Michigan this year, and Princess wants to know what your favorite team bonding moment was this season. I guess the ones that you could talk about.
I think there's two things in particular that really brought us close together, that set us apart. The first was the passing of our equipment manager, Ian Hume. That was tough on a lot of the guys. Going to his funeral and being with his family and stuff like that was tough. And I'd say dealing with what happened to Stephen Holtz when he was in the ICU with that virus, and we didn't know what was going to happen. That was really scary. So that kind of brought us really close together. I know those probably aren't the answers that they're looking for, but I think it's really the hardships that brought us close together and what made us so tight this year.
Talk to me about I know Mike kind of alluded to it a couple minutes ago, but your plans, especially for the draft. But between now and the draft, I mean, we always hear about the meetings with the teams and talking to them and trying to make your best impression. But do you know what your next 2 months are going to look like as far as doing that and combines and workouts and everything else? I know the season just ended, but paint us a picture of the next 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, for the next probably 2 weeks, I'm going to stay off the ice, take a bit of a break, give my body a rest. And then from then, get back in the gym, start getting stronger and try and get ready for next season. Through that period, yeah, there'll be interviews, there'll be meetings. It's going to be busy, yeah. But you just gotta try and fit it in your off-season training whenever you can throughout that time period. So it's going to be busy, but pretty much, yeah. It's just after these 2 weeks, get back in the gym, get back on the ice, and start climbing towards the goal.
Obviously, Brandon Dorado, I mean, he was thrust into a tough spot probably last summer. It just feels like he just did a tremendous job this year with you guys. Tell us about him as coach and how he sort of handled that unexpected elevation to head coach.
He handled it amazing. I mean, stepping into finding out midway through the summer, being on an interim tag. I mean, this guy came in and he was amazing from the start. He did such a good job implementing the style of play that he wanted us to go after, and he's such a player's coach. I mean, I love being around him. He went here and he's amazing to be around, and the way that he formed himself into having a head coach's attitude throughout the season and becoming more comfortable with us and just learning to become a head coach is something that I thought he did an amazing job getting better at throughout the season. By the end of the season, you felt like he was a 20-year coach at Michigan, and he's been to 9 Frozen Fours, 1 national championships. He just had so much experience for us to go to him with. He was amazing for us. I loved it.
Adam, this is the time of the year. We talk about it on every single show. We're looking at the standings. You're looking at playoff clinches. You're looking at, and I'm sure you're looking at the top of the standings. You said you're a Bruins fan. My God, what a year to be a Bruins fan.
Yeah.
But don't lie to me. How often are you looking at the bottom 5 teams in the standings? Because yes, this is a year where we have a consensus number 1 in Connor Bedard, but every mock draft I'm seeing has Adam Fantilli sitting at number 2. Are you looking at the possibilities of who could win that draft lottery, or be second in that draft lottery, and maybe be your future?
You know what? Not a ton. I mean, I watch a ton of hockey, so you have a good idea of who's really good, who's losing consistently. Honestly, I'm not really looking. I mean, I know the general idea, but until the balls drop, you don't really know much. So it's we're just waiting for that.
How do you, Adam, keep your eye on the ball, so to speak, and stay on firm ground? I mean, I can't imagine being your age. You just win the Hobey Baker. Now you got to go back to college. Go to public speaking class. You're about to get drafted. I mean, how do you sort of keep from looking too far ahead in the future and not sort of staying focused on the now?
Yeah, it's exactly it. I mean, something that I work with a sports psych. She's amazing. I think everybody should work with a sports psych. She's done so much for me. But one thing we really focused on is being where your feet are, and that's something I try to live by. Wherever your feet are, be in that room, be with those people, be as present as you can, and enjoy that moment. So, being here with you guys, my feet are in this room. I'm going to try and be as present as I can on this Zoom call, right? So just trying to enjoy the moment, enjoy every piece as it comes, because it flies by. I mean, this freshman season, I can't believe it's over. It happened so fast, and now it's done. So just trying to enjoy it as much as possible.
It's interesting you bring that up because, so many people or players your age now are focused on, I got to put on X amount of muscle. I got to increase my speed. I got to, work on my defensive zone coverage. And the mental side of the game sometimes gets forgotten. Aside from, really making sure you're present, what else has this sports psychologist really helped you with? And is that something that maybe people don't know a lot of athletes are doing now, even before turning pro?
Yeah. I mean, I won't get into everything we do together, but like setting deliberate goals, like going into practice, like I want to get X amount of shots off. I want to work on my pull shot, push shot, and deliberately focusing on it and talking to them through it after and how it felt when you got it right. And when you got it the right way, and trying to emulate the exact same feeling you had, and just get the repetition down and become consistent with it. So the mental side's huge. I mean, I've been working with sports like the last 5 years of my career, and I think it's done wonders for me. It's like I said, I think everybody should do the sports side.
By the way, do you somebody pointed out to me that you hold your hands pretty high on your stick. Is that something that is different than most players, and where did that start at, or is it not true?
I don't know how other players hold their sticks, but that's just, I guess, what feels comfortable to me. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. That's I'll have to start looking at that.
Yeah, don't let me mess up with your thinking. All of a sudden, you'll be thinking too much about it. By the way, have you been to Nashville yet?
No, I've never been to Nashville.
You will enjoy it.
I heard it's an amazing city.
Yeah, I'm heading there actually today. It's one of my favorite cities, and I mean, honestly, this draft, what I'm looking forward to is, if you think about it, it's 20-year anniversary of the 2003 draft, which in my days covering the sport is without a doubt the best draft that I've ever seen. And who's going to be there with you at the draft, and is that going to be pretty emotional?
Yeah, I mean, it's something you work for your whole life. It's a dream come true to have your name called. I'm bringing as many family and friends and as I can, and as many people that had a hand in getting me to this point. So it's going to be surreal. I'm so excited.
All right, Russo, we gotta let him go. He's got class, and if we are the reason he is late for class, we will never hear the end of it. Adam, thanks so much for doing this. Congrats again on a great season, and we'll talk to you in the future for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me on.